and I'll start my timer for LyzeofQuill in roughly 30 minutes. LyzeofQuill, if you're watching, I appreciate your patience. I'm sorry for you waiting so long for your replay. But we have it saved now, and I'm going to look on your notes. Let's check it out. You said you think your problem is shooting accuracy, aerial and ground car control, and maybe decision making. You said your current training is before you start playing rank. I usually go in free play for about 10 to 15 minutes or a training pack. I have 3. I switch between 10 shots to master, C-Bell, high aerials, and open nets. This is good for, are you diamond? Let's see. Yeah, diamond 2. That makes a lot of sense. Your goal is to be champ like in a few weeks. Peaked at diamond 3 multiple times. And long term is to hit at least GC3 one day. Nice. I can't really think of anything at the moment for specific. I've been playing long enough to know what I'm doing wrong, just not sure how to fix it because I try to do it on my own and that's not working. I'm sure you and Torment will go over a lot. Really appreciate your time and effort. I watch a lot of your Facebook reels and I'm here about to get coached by you, kind of lol. Really, I'm serious about getting better at Rocket League. I have a strong passion for the game, play pretty much every day. Thanks for your feedback. That's great, man. I appreciate that. I saw you. I sent you this screenshot because I saw you in your... So he's saying demos equal no skill and SSG is garbage in a chat. I thought that was funny. I would assume this is the same one, but I don't know if your tag has been changed to Jonathan or Tuxedo. We'll find out. All right, we'll check out your replay, man. Let's go into it. What's up, Sebastian? Yeah, you need to confirm phone number. I won't be focused on the Twitch chat. I'll be focused on LyzeofQuill. Oh, you're playing with AA's on. I recognize his name from the community. Let me turn on my Rocket League tracker so I can see what your MMR is. But I'm assuming you're Diamond 2, so it's like probably like 950. 950. Diamond 2, I would assume. Let's launch him right now. We'll see if so my tracker's going, but I don't know if I have to restart Rocket League. Does anybody know if I have to restart Rocket League in order to... If we're watching right now, feel free to shout. If I have to restart Rocket League in order to get MMR overlay, not sure. But I think 950 Diamond 2 is about right. So we're going to be supporting Azon here. You said you're pretty much open to whatever, and you play every day. So I don't think there were any specific questions. It said you think your problems are shooting, aerial and ground car control, maybe decision making. That makes sense. I want to be champ, peaked at diamond 3. Yeah. So you said open to shooting accuracy, maybe decision making. Yeah, so it seems like you're open to everything. So I'll just give you feedback on what I can. There we go. All right, now ranks are coming in. They're like kind of appearing weird here. Yeah, put this over here. All right, so it's saying LyzeofQuill is at 922 in this replay at diamond 2. Nice. All right. Here you picked up that boost, which is good. Here we just need to be playing beat. So your movement here is all right. You're using a lot of boost to get boost, but that's fine. Here, I want you to keep your speed up. The main thing that you're playing here is a beat on this player. So the main objective... Oh, and is my drawing working? Apologies. The main thing you're playing here is a beat on JRPG to your right. That should be the main priority in this play. So when I see him on your right here, I'm trying to move forward quickly. I'm trying to get around this ball, and I'm less concerned with shooting this on net because he's coming from the right side. I think it's unlikely I'm going to be able to shoot without being blocked. So what I'm thinking is I'm trying to hit like the underside of this ball, maybe bottom left. I'm trying to pop it high, far and mid, so that way I can land and either my teammate can shoot or I can come back around. Here, it feels like we're playing a shot, but then you also like use a double jump last second to maybe play the beat. Not sure, which ends up just giving you like a 50 that stays in the corner, and obviously you can't create here. This is not what you want. So I think if you would have been able to quickly identify that we're playing a beat here earlier and base your player on that, it might look more consistent in your gameplay. Yeah. Going to be moving back, supporting your teammate. I see some people messaging in YouTube chat. I am not responding to YouTube chats. I'll say that now, and if anybody comes in later, please remind them. Focused on the replay for the student. We'll make a save here. This save is all right. One thing that you want to avoid is when somebody's dribbling the ball, you don't want to be stuck flipping. So here's a good idea to rotate back. This flip is good. Now we're caught up to the play. Now we're ahead of it, if anything. So when we're rotating back here, we don't want to use another flip because now you're stuck flipping and they can cut in to the midfield. So this is dangerous because you're flipping while he's dribbling, so you can't turn. So he makes a play here, and he ends up just back flipping off of it, so nothing happens. But you want to avoid flipping when somebody's dribbling like that because it commits you. In general. This is fine. You're trying to keep it on the left side of the field. This is good. I would not be following this ball once you've made your touch. In Diamond, we want to make our play super obvious to our team. So when you're in this position and we have no vision of who's coming on the right, I think it's very unlikely we're going to get a good touch on the ball. So what I'm much more in the business of here is getting behind my teammate. Because my teammate, who's been waiting behind me this whole play, is probably going to have a better angle and better vision sitting here than I will driving into the corner, right? Because when you're looking at the corner, all you see is this. You see no players. So your vision is very bad. You end up driving forward just to get beat, and now you're like on the wrong side of the ball. This feels very, this doesn't feel very good to me. This is fine. You're going to grab boost, support your teammate. Your teammate's still grabbing boost, so you're going to move forward. Driving up the wall makes a lot of sense to me here. This challenge does not make sense to me. So we have to understand the purpose of a play. And a lot of players at Diamond just think the purpose of Rocket League is to score a goal. And then they assume the purpose of that is to hit the ball forward. But when you get to this kind of intermediate rank, you have to understand that just hitting the ball forward doesn't always accomplish a goal in Rocket League. This is one of those situations. The reason hitting the ball forward here is not very productive is because there's one guy high on the wall. So there's a guy supporting it. So you're taking a 50-50 in their corner. Very dangerous because the whole field's behind you here. If you get beat, your recovery is going to be very slow. But also, even if you were to get a beat here, this ball is in such an awkward position and there's an opponent waiting in net. So anything that comes down to the midfield here is most certainly getting stopped. So this is almost always a form of a fake challenge or a bump on the player. The goal here should not be to play the ball. And if you are playing the ball or playing 50, you're kind of missing the plot. And this is a very common mistake in Diamond to be doing this. And now what we've done is we've overcommitted. We've left our teammate back alone with 0 boost. And we put him in a 1v1, if not a 2v1 on this guy if he would be pushing up right now with a little bit more haste. So what you did there is not ideal. You may know that intuitively. You may be like, in this position, oh shit, I've obviously done something wrong. But the goal is that sooner on here, we could identify at this point in time that once this ball goes up here, you really don't have much of a play on it. You're playing bumps. You're playing rotate out. The good news is he doesn't have a threat on you, so you just want to minimize overcommits here. You don't want to overcommit. This is going to cost you a lot of games. You should assume that if you do this in game that your teammate will be scored on. Luckily he isn't, but you should assume that he will be if you do that consistently. Let's talk about supporting your teammate now. So when your teammate does get a beat here, this is very fortunate. We want to avoid, and I know this is hard because the ball is just whipped over your head. We want to avoid positioning side by side with our teammate. This is a very common mistake in Diamond. They think, oh, my teammate's attacking on the left side, so I'm going to go run into... If he's playing left wing... if he's Ronaldo, I'll be Messi. We're running over here. This is not really how Rocket League works. Even Jinxie knows this. You need to be positioned when you're supporting your teammate, especially when your teammate's getting challenged. It's much more flexible to be behind your teammate. So in the case of the ball, getting blocked or coming back, or your teammate getting dunked, you can actually support your teammate's touch as opposed to having to do a 360. When you position to the side of your teammate like this, you end up just taking longer to get back to the ball. You end up having to do the exact correction that I just drew out. And it's not very efficient. So when your teammate's attacking, we want to avoid running up and attacking like soccer or strikers. We want to support, especially at the low ranks. At the high ranks, you can sort of break this. Especially at the low ranks, though, we need to be behind our teammate because they're going to get dunked more often than not. Your teammate is not Zen. He's not flicking the ball around the opponent. In fact, he probably isn't even looking at the opponent. Yeah, he's not. So, little tip to help you solo queue better. This is fine, though. We're going to rotate back. This ends up happening. Now you're awkward. Now you have to double back. You get bumped, like I said. I would just be getting out here. This is fine. is fine still. Gotta play a block there. Luckily, your teammate splits it up. Okay, so you're doing the same thing again. So I'm going to assume it's a pattern now. In this position, I'll give you a moment to pause. Based on what I taught you earlier, what do you think is the best supporting position for your teammate? Give me a second. Okay, I'm going to answer. It's not up here. Playing like the outlet pass for your teammate is something that SSLs and pros do. It's not something that we do in Diamond 1 or Diamond 2. In this lobby, pop over the ranks on the side of Platinums and Diamonds. When our teammate has this ball in the corner, we cannot assume that there's a pass coming midfield. We can't even really assume that he's hitting the ball. So it's much... it's kind of poetic because... lag spike. We'll say it was a lag spike. Instead, we want to be supporting behind our teammate. So you want to think, instead of to the side, we want to be behind the teammate. And this is because, I'm not saying you need to be in the corner behind him. I'm saying if you were to draw a line side by side, you don't want to be running in front of this line. You're sort of, if you play soccer, you're offsides, right? So you're not allowed to receive a pass here. Not only is it harder to receive a pass here, but when your teammate does inevitably whiff or get beat or get stopped, you can't support somebody when you're out in front of them. So we generally don't want to play like this because luckily you were able to get to the ball first because Orange's positioning is equally dubious. But even so, your attacking angle is like really bad. Like you're slamming this ball into the corner. Like this is not beneficial. Ideally, if all else equal, you would want to be like probably behind this ball if you're trying to attack. Now there's some argument to be made about setting up an air dribble, blah, 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 whatever. But this stuff, I already know what the YouTube comment section will say, but the idea, the principle here is supporting out front, flipping ahead of your teammate like this in Diamond 1. Diamond 2 is an awful way to play, and it will likely get you scored on if you do this. So, yeah, we don't want to do this. And then afterwards, the center is very dubious. We want to, ideally, this ball is turned into an air dribble. You would slow down, hit it up the wall and air dribble it. If that touch feels too inconsistent, like you can't consistently roll the ball up the wall and you're scared of like recentering it, then what we want to do is we want to slow down, and you can either flick your camera to the right or just have been tracking that nobody's here and come around. Because right now we're rushing a touch off the sidewall, like pass to ourselves, and like nobody's there. Now, this center ball is really bad because theoretically somebody should be scoring on you right now, but you want to be careful about this style of movement where you run up in front of your teammate, get ahead of the play, aren't really looking at opponents, rushing like these wall touches. You kind of get a beat around one. But yeah, much safer from the get-go here is let your teammate go a little bit in front of you. So if he's here, like you're a little bit behind him at all times. That way you can come behind him if he goes for a solo play, which 99% of the time at Diamond he will. Yeah. All right, so you hit the ball away here. You're going to grab boost. You're under the ball. Don't turn on this. Don't turn. Don't turn. Get behind it. So at some ranks, there's an argument to be made that maybe you can like back pass this. If you can back pass this, that's probably the best play in a controlled way. If you can't back pass, what you want to do here is make it very obvious to your teammate to go. So there's like a sort of best play, and then there's a simplest play. And low ranks often get confused by, you know, best play versus simplest. If your goal is to rank up or win your game, you should probably be going for the simpler play, all else equal. And here, turning on this ball or like trying to play a wall touch is very confusing. You risk double committing. You end up making a good cut here, but when this ball goes up and I can't do much with it, as a diamond player, I would be rotating opposite the ball, not ball side, because sitting under it like this usually leads to whiffs, getting dunks, not really good touches, whereas your teammate can get a much better touch from his POV if he's not reversing in the net, you know. But we'll coach A's on later. For you, man, I would encourage you to back pass it here if you can, and if you're telling me you don't have the mechanics to do that, like, get off the ball. Get off the ball, because this is just going to make... It's very hard to play Rocket League like this. We'll keep watching. You're going to flip after the ball. Ideally, we're making some sort of center ball here. This is a good center ball. Get behind your teammate. Nice, I like this. You had a catch there, so... Nobody's challenging you here. We have full information on the play because we just watched it happen. Everybody here is committed. all 3 players in the lobby are committed midair right now, and the ball's bouncing off the ceiling. None of them have recovered. And we turn off ball cam and go full back. This is like, I can understand why you might be doing this, but the ball's like about to fall right next to your car, like right here. And so it is just a little silly that you run back here. And now the ball's going to bounce. And now he has a shot. When you could just be catching that ball there if you had ball cam on. Right now he's going to get a shot. And of course he's rushing a shot. You're running to net. He's just going to probably hit you the ball. And then you're going to make a touch to the corner. Hopefully. Or touch forward. Yep, they're overcommitted. That works. So it's a good save. Letting somebody shoot on you like this is probably not encouraged. The tricky part about coaching this rank is like mistakes are compounding. So like I could tell you what to do. And what you should do is not let them shoot on you for free. If you don't have to, right? Like you should catch that ball and then go take it to the side boost away from them and buy your teammate time. But if they always just throw the ball at you, then I understand why you rotate to net by default. But just understand that that is a mistake that will be punished if it turns into a habit. I think the easiest thing for you to fix, LyzeofQill, in your gameplay is this tendency you have when your teammate is being challenged. So this is very important to understand, especially for the YouTube comments or anybody watching on stream. I'm saying when your teammate is being challenged, don't assume that you're going to get a good mid pass. You need to wait for your teammate to start passing before you go run in for a pass. What you keep doing, LyzeofQuill, is your teammate's about to get challenged and you just run mid for a mid pass and ignore the fact that he's getting challenged. And so then he gets challenged and the ball comes back and you're like completely ahead of the play, now slamming the ball into the corner again. Or actually you're just doing donuts and running back to net. I actually don't know what you're doing. But in theory, if you were supporting behind your teammate in the way we outlined, that's more flexible for platinums and diamonds and even champs, what you would be doing here is after you make this forward touch, you see your teammates very obviously turning, you continue to follow at a safe distance. You can actually be pretty close because they're on the wrong side of the ball right now, but you would continue to follow your teammate, maybe 5 to 10 car lengths behind, staying somewhat in between him and the opponent, right? So you're flexible. So your path looks something like, I'm gonna draw it in green so it's very clear where we want you to go. Your path would, instead of looking like this yellow path where you run to the mid, or we'll draw it in blue, you would do something more like this blue path where you not even move to the left, but you just kind of follow that white trail. So that way you're flexible. What happens here is you like run to the mid, and then of course your opponent the opponent challenges you because we've been watching this play the whole time, and the ball comes to a pretty common position, and then you're off running this way instead of like supporting your teammate and shooting the ball here. Like you should just be shooting this ball quite easily. Goal. Like that should have been a goal 2 seconds ago. But instead we're running off to the right, and this is common bad positioning in Diamond. It's this like assumption that a pass is coming when, if we break down the odds, like of all the things that happen, the pass maybe makes it to you when your teammate's being challenged in this position, perhaps 2% of the time. Like perhaps 2% of the time. And even when it does make it, if you were playing in this position, you could go get the pass too. But instead you run to get the pass and you forfeit all supporting on your teammate. To be honest, that cost you a goal. So yeah, we need to be fixing this positioning as well as these other decision-making bad habits. It's making your movement really confusing. So yeah, there you should have just gone for the ball. Once you are in a bad position, if you're first to the ball, you still should go. So we should be driving at this ball, and if we have time, recreating that line. And if we don't have time to recreate that line, just like take a dribble into the corner and then try to turn it around. That's still fine. But instead we just kind of leave the ball here. I'm not really sure. We should be turning at some point here. We're like running the opposite way. I couldn't tell you exactly where you're moving or why you're moving where you are. That I would need a live call for that. Hopefully Torment or one of the other coaches can help you if you're doing live coaching with them. But what I can absolutely tell you is you're violating these basic you're violating these basic flipping rules in Rocket League around over flipping. So one of the most common situations where you don't want to flip is when the ball is changing direction, when somebody's about to make a touch. Somebody's about to dribble the ball left, right. You know, you don't know it's going to go up or down, if they're going to flick it. What you don't want to do is like he's about to make his touch. They're about to challenge his touch. And what you do is you just start flipping back preemptively. So now we're stuck floating midair while they're challenging and our teammate's dribbling. So it's like, I don't know where the ball's going, but we're flipping back either way. So the ball ends up going forward and now you're back in your net. And you know, the diamonds or plats may go like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. This is not that big of a problem. But this is how far you are from the play. Like, you are really, you're not active at all. You're not supporting your team at all. So you need to, if you want to improve, you need to avoid flipping during a collision, flipping during a 50-50, flipping during any change of direction of the ball. That's the point. That makes sense? We want to avoid this. It's making you slow to the play, awkward, you're not supporting your team well, all that stuff. This is another overcommit. Somebody said this is good stuff here. That's great. Yeah, I do that. It's very common. Very, very common. Okay, so we're going to overcommit again here. How can we minimize overcommits? The majority of platinum and diamond overcommits, and I'm speaking in general terms here, majority of overcommits happen in this part of the field. This is called the corner. More specifically, the opponent's corner. The reason overcommits happen so much here is because when you challenge, you have the entire field behind you, and a very small amount of the field ahead of you. So if you take a challenge in your opponent's corner, you have to understand the whole field is behind you. So it's not that you're not allowed to challenge. The idea is that when we do challenge in the corner, we want to make sure our recovery is good, the likelihood that we overcommit is good, and if we are going to lose the 50, there's a good chance we're going to be back. So you can challenge here, but what you probably shouldn't be doing is like full commit challenges. I'm talking about things like full front flip challenges that cast your car forward, because this increases the separation. What we want to be opting for, if we're unsure if we can win the challenge, is fake challenges, which is when you drive forward and turn back at the last second. Or if you do want to put pressure on the ball, drive challenges where you drive through the ball, but then if you miss, you can come back around. Or even single jump challenges. At least with a single jump, you're not casting your car forward. This outcome is about the worst thing that can happen in these positions. I would also encourage you to not be full boosting into these types of commits. If you are going to take a 50, it's not beneficial for you to be going supersonic during, like, you're going to win the 50 if you're going medium speed or max speed. So let's minimize the risk that we overcommit by not going supersonic and using all of our boost right before the 50. This is kind of a recipe to overcommit. This is a clear problem, and once again, you're leaving your teammate alone. You should assume that your teammate's getting scored on here more often than not. So to recap, you can challenge in the corner, but we don't want to be going full speed. We don't want to be using front flips. And if we do commit, we have to have high likelihood that we're going to win this ball. And here I don't have that because it looks like his control is pretty good. You're moving full speed across the field. It's like he's not like missing the ball. Like this is just like a drive chow or like slow down in 50. And you could like, yeah, I'd probably fake challenge this most of the time. I wouldn't even cut off my teammate, to be honest, but not at this rank. Like, I would just wait. I would turn back. Like, until your teammate moves back, I would turn back. Because, yeah, I'm scared that he's even going to turn and go double commit with you. It's hard to say. We'll keep watching. We're using a side flip. Side flips are not recommended on these kickoffs. I mean, they're okay. The problem with the side flip is that on the corner kickoffs, they're not the worst thing, but it's just going to make you slower to the kickoff, and it uses a lot of boost because you're casting your momentum sideways. You end up getting a good 50, so I don't think it's a constraint in your gameplay. If you want to keep doing it for now, that's fine. I'm just flagging it for you for fix in the future. Some sort of pre-flip here. Here, when the ball's moving away from us, we want to cover more ground before we jump. This is a common mistake in Rocket League. When the ball's moving away, you have to drive longer and wait to jump later. Because if you jump here, it looks like you're at the ball, but the ball's still moving away from you. So as you jump, it's still falling away. And now you're stuck behind the ball. You see this? You're making your contact behind the ball. And now this is a weak touch that's easily savable. So we don't want to be doing that. Instead, we want to be driving under the ball, and a cue here for when you're under the ball like this, or like you're chasing a ball that's moving away from you, is you wait to take off until your car is in the under the ball indicator. So the ball indicator here is down here. Right? Let me zoom in. Ball indicator here is here. So right now you're taking off from back here. You want to wait till your car is under the ball and then take off, because the ball's going to move forward while you take off. So that way you have this nice intersection point in the middle. That makes sense? That makes sense? Cool. We're moving back. We might get some sort of stop. Not a good catch. That's all right. Leave for boost. Miss our opening. So they end up bumping each other here, but because you turn off ball cam again to go back, right when you turn off ball cam, they collide with each other. And so you missed an open, like this was an open net if you were shadowing closer. Just pointing it out. I don't know if it's the biggest weakness in your gameplay right now. Well, okay, not the right way to move. So if you're given two options after you finish your touch on the ball, here we can turn left as in yellow or right as in pink. Which do you think is correct? Now I've already hinted at it. Pink is correct, but why? Well, default option in Rocket League, all else equal, especially in Diamond and Champ, we want to, Plat, Diamond and Champ, we want to rotate off the ball. So if the ball is on the right side of the field, we want to rotate onto the left side of the field. And the reason we do that is because when you rotate off the ball, especially like in front of your net defensively, now we can actually save the ball. But when you rotate onto the ball side, now you're facing the wrong way. You're scoring on blue. We're on blue team here. So by moving this way, it's really confusing because now you're stuck behind the ball and orange doesn't really do anything. What happened? He left for corner boost, didn't he? No, he left for this boost. No, he's still leaving for corner boost. I don't know what he's doing. But the idea is, this guy just goes for the YOLO slam, classic. YOLO center. If we were on the other side, this is much more intuitive because then your teammate knows that you're not going for the ball. Your teammate knows it's their turn to go. He doesn't think you're going to go turn on it and like interrupt somehow. And I don't know why we're flipping into the wall. Don't do that. But that's the more intuitive movement. Okay, so rotate off the ball, not ball side. YOLO center. I don't encourage these types of plays, but I get it's the diamond way. Do a lot of YOLO centers. It happens. And we get scored on. Oh, so I would discourage this style of play in Diamond. I understand why you're doing it. It's not a bad touch if it happens at a higher rank, but basically what you're doing when you throw the ball up like this is you're saying, teammate, decide whether or not we get scored on. And some people in the comments will be like, well, it's my teammate's fault. My teammate should have scored this. And like, does your teammate have an easier angle than the opponents? Yeah. Should he probably beat the opponents who's sitting on the front post, not looking like he knows what he's doing? Probably, yeah. But you got, like, this is a platinum and diamond lobby. Like, people just miss the ball. Like, it's probably 50-50 whether people hit or miss the ball. And so if I'm just playing purely on those odds, there's two opponents that are going to try to touch this ball, and there's one teammate that's going to try to touch this ball. So is it that surprising that your teammate doesn't get a goal? And bear in mind, your teammate doesn't have to just beat them. He has to beat them and score it. Whereas the opponents, all they have to do in this matchup is get a touch on the ball to save it. So when you throw that ball up to the mid, and then, well, now you're just stuck flipping, and getting beat, and overcommitting again. Is it really that surprising that you end up getting scored on in this play? Not really. So, like, you have to assume that if you, like, put the entire game in your teammate's hands and platinum and diamond and they get scored on, you can't just throw your hands in the air and be like, I don't know why we're losing. What we want to opt for is more safe passes. So it's not that you can't pass the ball. It's that if I am going to pass the ball, I'm going to make sure that my recovery is good. So I'm going to immediately rush back here. In this position, it's hard to even do that. But I'm going to try to make a pass where I get to drive through the ball, right? Or I let it drop and then I pass it. This mistake wasn't the worst. It's kind of compounded by the fact that now you're like flipping and now this needs to be a fake challenge. Your teammate's overcommitted. You need to buy time and instead you like YOLO 50 when he's like obviously has you beat. So it was compounded by a bad overcommit, but like your two biggest errors are kind of coming together and getting you scored on. So we went over a batch of things, Jonathan. The feedback I have for you is avoid positioning to the side of your teammate. This is getting you scored on a lot. I would just recommend being behind them most of the time, especially if you don't understand how to look at the opponents and the ball and take in full information. Your default should be behind your teammate, not in front of them when they're attacking, or to the side of them even. Number two, you need to be careful about these YOLO passes, just like slamming the ball off the corner, slamming the ball off the backboard, full committing, just hoping your teammate's going. Number three, you need to be careful of overcommits in the opponent's corner. You're often overcommitting as the last man back, and it's getting you scored on. Even when you're not the last man back, you shouldn't be overcommitting as first man in the corner. It should be drive challenges, safe challenges, fake challenges, these sorts of things. And then five, we talked about some mechanical things, waiting to take off, understanding when you're playing a beat versus playing a shot. But I think the decision-making stuff is going to be the easiest to fix. So I hope that's helpful. Thanks so much for submitting a replay. I'll see you next month. Peace, LyzeofQill. Thanks for watching, man. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll send this recording and notes to you in the next day or two. Peace, man.
Very well done.
Thank you.